So I'm Andrew Darlington, Veritas Risk Management, and I have Justin Gilliam with me today. He is with Verizon, and he works with businesses, helping them with different things with their phone designs. But the reason I wanted to have Justin today is I want to talk to y'all about fleet management. Right now, auto insurance premiums are going through the roof, and I think Justin's going to be able to give some insight into what telematics can do. Whether you choose to use Verizon, which is a great tool, it integrates with a lot of insurance company software already, or use somebody else. It's good to know what's out there and how that can help you. So Justin, give me a little bit of background on you, how long you've been there real quick, what you do there, and then we'll go into some of the questions and talk about how that helps from an insurance perspective in fleet management.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Andrew, thank you so much for having me here today, man. It's an absolute pleasure. I've been with Verizon Business now for a little bit over a year and a half. I spent 3 years with indirect Verizon cellular sales. So all in all, I've got a total of about 4 years in the industry in the B2B side of things. So I'm a local account manager here in East Tennessee and over in Western North Carolina, help with office phone solutions, business internet solutions, wireless device solutions. But today, obviously, we're here to talk about fleet management solutions. I spend a lot of time on the fleet side of things, so I'm really looking forward to see what questions you have for me today.
Good. Okay, so just going through the questions we talked about. So what information can a business owner track once they put the fleet in? Well, let's go back one. You and I talked. There's a couple of different levels that Verizon has.
Okay.
Can you kind of talk about just briefly different levels, and then when we kind of go in the questions, you can say, well, this one would do these and this one would do those. So what kind of different levels are there based on? Is it based on a fleet size? Is it based on the type of vehicle? Kind of tell me what you got going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So on the Verizon fleet management side of things, we have Verizon Connect, which purchased a couple different fleet companies a few years back. So now all of the Fleetmatics and other companies that were purchased by Verizon a couple years ago is now known as Verizon Connect. So on the Verizon Connect side of things, we do GPS tracking, we do AI dash cams, and then we also do powered assets as well. So if you want to track, heavy machinery, whatnot on job sites. So those are the three ones that we spend a lot of time with on the fleet management side of things.
Okay. Is there a number of vehicles? Can you just have one? Is there any type of vehicle minimum or maximum, that type of thing for this?
Absolutely. Great question. So minimum is one vehicle. I will say the pricing on everything is tiered. So the more, fleet that you do own, the cheaper that pricing is going to get. And same thing for the heavy machinery side of things. So all in all, we have products that we can sell out of our retail location here in Johnson City. But on the flip side, if it's a little bit bigger of a deal, I always like to bring someone in with Verizon Connect with one of my liaisons to give a full demo on what all the products and services look like, with not only the GPS tracking and the dash cams, but also what the CRM looks like, so you can get a feel of exactly what you're looking at before you decide if it's a route you'd like to go with or not.
Okay, so let's talk about, so you can do with and without dash cams.
Correct.
Okay, so in the past, y'all had the little hum thing where you kind of put it underneath the steering wheel, plug it in, plug and go. Do y'all still have something like that?
Yes. So all of our tracking devices now are still going to be used on the OBD port side of things. So as far as installation goes, you plug the device in and within minutes, you can log into your CRM and see the live location of that vehicle and where it's at. The cameras on the other side, it's a little bit different on the camera side of things, but it is very simplistic as well to get the cameras up and running. So all in all, with installation, you're looking around maybe 5 minutes per vehicle to get a camera installed and that OBD dongle plugged in as well.
Does the camera sit on like the rear view mirror or something?
So it actually attaches to the windshield. So depending on the truck, there's, a tractor trailer is going to look a little bit different than, a Nissan passenger van. So it really just depends on the type of vehicle and the windshield.
Okay. And so with the cameras, do all of them look front and back, or where do some of them just look forward? What do y'all have on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a couple different options on the camera side of things. What I see most of my business customers go with are our dual-sided cameras. So one that's road facing and then one that's also driver facing. But we also have the options to just do driver facing or road facing. So it really just depends on what the need for the business is. There's different niches in separate industries. So all really just depends what you're looking for and why you're wanting to take advantage of the fleet management.
Yeah, because I mean, what I'm thinking is you got some folks that just have 4 or 5 guys, not a big fleet, but do want to keep track of it. Not too worried about the cameras right now. I think cameras are a great idea. We'll talk about more about that in a second.
Okay.
In the situation that we've seen, but just want something so they can do something quick, the dongle and done.
Dongle.
On the cameras, having the forward and back is great because from an insurance perspective, I mean, I guess let me go back from an insurance perspective on this. There's really not too many companies, if any, that on the business auto standpoint have discounts that are filed with the state of Tennessee for telematics. Okay, right. It's not you use telematics, you get a discount. Insurance companies have to file the rates with the state. So whatever my rate is for XYZ, it has to be filed with the state. If I want to make any changes to that rate, those have to be filed with the state. So that's why telematics, Progressive has their little telematics device. A lot of companies will have a different device. I think Allstate has theirs that do different things. Anything that those do, they have to send it to the state, get approval, and it has to be part of the rating factor.
Right.
One of the reasons why insurance companies don't have that. But that being said, a good insurance agent, like me, if you're not using me, but a good insurance agent, what they'll do is we try to find reasons to tell an underwriter, you're a better risk than the average, because in essence, insurance companies file their rates at an average risk. If you're a below average risk, they're going to add to that rate. If you're at above average risk, they're going to come off of that rate. Right. And in Tennessee, most insurance companies have a 50% swing, huge. So if the rate per vehicle, will take round numbers is $500, which I haven't seen $500 per vehicle rates in years, but say it's $500, they can go down to $250 and up to $750, or from $1,000 to $500 to $1,500. So they can do a swing. So what I'm looking at here is if I have something like this and my client installs it, what can I take to my underwriters to say, listen, Bob Smith has now put this in. They didn't used to have telematics. Now they get telematics in there. They are a better risk. I know you don't have anything where, oh, you get a 3% discount or 5%, but let's think about this from an underwriting standpoint. If you've got telematics, then certainly we can prove that you are a better risk than the average. There's no question. And so that's where we come into how is this going to work? How is it going to make money? So that being said, let's move on to the next one. So we talk about what information can be tracked for the business owner based on the different solutions. So kind of tell me, let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, Andrew, we could probably spend 20 to 30 minutes diving into all the information on what can be tracked, but I'm going to spend just a couple seconds talking about a few of the features that a lot of my business customers have taken advantage of and what they like to see. So the first one is with our CRM, you have a full live map. So you can see your entire crew on one screen. So you get a breakdown of the total distance that's traveled, and you can filter the vehicle by state, by vehicle, or by geofence. So, regardless of how many states you're in, you can see all of your fleet within one platform. Another great one that a lot of customers of mine like is a cost analysis. So at the end of the day, you're going to get a breakdown of your total daily costs. So that includes drive time, time on site, and wasted fuel. So a cost analysis there can see, hey, how efficient are we being with our fleet?
Okay, so let me ask you. So what you might not know this, but what data are they putting in? Are they do they put in these people make the X number of dollars per hour, and how do they get those numbers?
So I think it's more so just on like the driving time side of things with looking at idle time. Is there any wasted fuel from a vehicle idling too much?
Wow.
So you can see the actual time on site. So we'll get into the payroll summary here in just a second, but that's a big one as well that a lot of my business customers like to take a look at is, hey, we have people that are claiming and submitting these amount of hours on their payroll each week, but we're coming to the job site at 10 o'clock and they're still not there when they're logging. They're there at 8:30 every single morning. So being able to see a real live visual of, hey, how long were my guys on the job site and how much time did they spend there? So that's a big one on the cost analysis side.
Okay. And then you can do, tell me, and I don't know if it's there yet, but can you do any data breakdown based on a video? Is there AI in the background that will tell you anything, what's happening on the video, if they're picking up their phone, that type of thing, or do they have to actually watch that to find that?
Most certainly. So the customization side on the software is pretty unlimited on how you want to set that up. You can be as strict with the features as you want, or you can be as lenient as you want. The AI in the actual cameras, though, are looking at a lot of different factors. So anytime there's a scenario where, let's say you're taking a sharp right and there's a car that's coming from the opposite side and they get a little close to you, you will get an alert that, hey, there was, close to accident. I don't know what the exact terminology is on that side of the fence, but it's unbelievable how, like, if someone just gets too close, you can actually have it customized where, like, hey, there was a close call here, essentially. So it's unbelievable with what the AI dash cams can do anymore. The texting side of things, it can alert you, if it's, hey, we have a worry that there's a distracted driver here. So that's a feature. If a driver was to fall asleep or have a seizure, there's also routes there where it can say, hey, something's not right here, and you get that alert immediately. So a bunch of different options there on the camera AI side of things.
Okay, this is wild. Okay, so here's the situation. And I was talking to an underwriter about this, and we were talking about cameras and that type of thing. And she said, well, we had a situation where it's a tragic situation where a guy had only been working 2 weeks for a company doing local trucking. So it was like a dump truck, that type of thing.
Okay.
Fell asleep at the wheel at like 8:30 in the morning. Had literally gone in there, fallen asleep within 30 minutes of driving just a local route, flipped the dump truck and died because he fell asleep. So she said, well, nothing could have been done there. And I know it, I've heard, haven't seen, but I've read articles about some dash cams that can actually, like, if someone's fallen asleep, will make a noise to wake them up. Yours doesn't do that, does it?
To be 100% honest with you, Andrew, I would have to go back and get that answer for you. It changes.
Yeah, see if you can find that, because I'll put that in here. But the fact that it does other things, I mean, so what you're saying back, so I can run a report and it'll say Bob Smith fell asleep or whatever, or there was a close call, because it'll pull the report from that AI for me.
Correct. So
that's
it's
crazy.
Unbelievable, the reporting and analytics side of all the reports that you can actually pull. Like I was saying, we could dive into it. It would take hours to really show you all the detailed reports that you can pull, just from the GPS management side of things, but then it's an entirely another level with the dash cam side.
Wow. Okay. So, but in general, so go back to general. So if I'm a business owner, things I want to know, are my vehicles with my name on the side of them pissing people off while we're driving? And so the answer is, you can get alerts. So if someone's speeding, going above the speed limit, because I'm sure it knows what the speed limit is, where they are, and can notify. So if someone's speeding, it can send texts or emails to whoever else in the company that needs to know, the site manager or their district manager, whatever. It can send those.
Correct.
Speeding, hard braking. I assume if there is a wreck, it'll notify. That type of thing. What else? Speeding, hard braking. What about hard acceleration? Will it do that too?
It will show hard acceleration. A lot of my customers are a little back and forth on, hey man, I really don't care if my guys are going, 5-7 miles per hour over the speed limit. So the cool thing with the speeding side of things is you can actually customize it to, if you want to get alerts when it's 10% above the speed limit or 20% above the speed limit, even 30%. So you can customize that, to ensure that, hey, your reporting's not getting blown up with, hey, this guy was speeding, when in all reality, he was only going 4 to 6 miles per hour over the speed limit all day.
Which, just so you know, you shouldn't drive over the speed limit. I mean,
absolutely.
The report. So I'm thinking from an insurance perspective, so I can pull from you simply okay, so you have the different devices, you have some of the cameras and that type of thing, everything from the simple plug-in all the way up. With all of the different levels, can I pull the speeding violations, the hard braking, cornering, and quick starts?
Correct. You sure can.
Okay.
So, like I was Yep. Like I was saying earlier, if it's a small mom and pop here that just has two vehicles and they want to come and get one of our reveal starter trackers from the store, it's going to have the exact same analytics and reporting that some of our larger fleet caliber of accounts would have as well. So that's a good thing there is it's not really tiered on performance. It's got the same stuff. It just really all depends on the amount of, or the size of the fleet, depending on, hey, is this something we can go ahead and get knocked out and taken care of today? Or, should we tee this up for a conversation with Verizon to connect to dive a little bit deeper into this?
So literally they can call you up, meet you at the store, pick up their stuff, and they're done.
Absolutely. Same day.
Okay. That's cool. Okay. Talked about how to set up real quick. You said less than 5 minutes per vehicle.
Less than 5 minutes per vehicle. One thing as well that I wanted to mention, Andrew, a lot of people, they are hesitant to say, hey, it's self-install. Some people can still be a little wishy-washy on, well, hey, man, like we would prefer somebody else to do that. A question I get all the time is, hey, do I need to go to my local dealership and have them install it? Like, I don't care to pay them for it. Don't care a bit. But at the end of the day, as the local account manager here, I'm the one with that are boots on the ground. So I don't care to come on site and set everything up on the fleet management side of things. So no worries on the installation side. It takes no time whatsoever, and I can always come on site and get things up and rolling.
What are some of the reasons that clients have mentioned wanting to get their telematics installed? So my thing is you need to do it because insurance rates are going through the roof, and there's one way to keep them down. I mean, and I don't know the pricing. We'll get into the pricing a whole bunch there, but I know it's not very bad at all. I mean, it's very inexpensive, just starting out on the starter ones and going up, and it's comparable to the other folks out there. And when you have a local rep, it makes things a little bit nicer.
Most certainly.
But my reason is insurance pricing. But when you're out there talking to different business owners, that type of thing, why are they picking up the phone and saying, hey, Justin, I need to talk to you about telematics? What are those things that are going through their minds that are saying, these are the reasons we need to talk about telematics?
Great question, Andrew. Great question. So my clients, often choose to install telematics solutions in the fleet for several different reasons, but a couple of the ones that I can think of off the top of mind is, just improving the fleet efficiency and productivity. You're able to see everything with that live map of what your vehicle has done, not only where it's currently at, but what did it do yesterday? What was it doing this morning? And then, what can it be doing tomorrow? So, enhancing driver safety and reducing accidents. So, once people that are in these vehicles start to learn, hey, we do have some fleet management solutions here. We've got the camera up here. I know my vehicle's being tracked. It does seem to be a little bit of a difference in driving. People can tend to let the lead foot go to the side. So we see a lot of positive benefits from that side of the fence. We've talked a little bit about fuel consumption. That's obviously another big one. A lot of service-based industries of mine, especially in the HVAC field, they love it for optimizing route planning and dispatching. So there's no point to really, pick up the phone, call your employee and say, hey, man, have you arrived so-and-so? And you can pull up your CRM and see where they're at immediately. So saving more time and being efficient on the business owner side of things there. And then, really just increasing that vehicle security and theft prevention. A lot of the heavy machinery side of things, in the construction industry, it's unreal just the theft that happens overnight at job sites. So being able to see where those heavy machineries are is really big on the construction side of the fence with a lot of the construction businesses that I've worked with. And then I would say lastly, just streamlining maintenance and reducing downtime. You can set all your tasks up to know, hey, this is when oil changes are due on this vehicle. Hey, we need to have this van washed on X day because it's leaving on a trip. So the way you can customize that is setting a task through the software to where it'll immediately send an email or a text message to that driver. So they already know, hey, I've got to stop and get an oil change today. So we could spend a ton of time there, on what is the main reason why people, will go with the Fleetmatics. But I think that's the biggest few there.
Can y'all for different companies that are doing HVAC, plumbing, the service type stuff, handyman, those types of things, do y'all integrate with some of the other software that they might have for that industry with the fleet management and the dispatching, that type of thing?
So As of today, Andrew, I don't believe that we have the ability to connect onto other software or softwares to collaborate there. I have heard through the pipeline that that is coming before too long. So I'll keep you updated on that. And I'm also going to reach back out to my Connect liaison and see what the process looks like on that and how soon down the pipeline that's coming.
So you've met with the client. You've added you've put the stuff in there, you've plugged in the dongles, and you've put on the dash cams. After they've had it for a little bit, what are the biggest ahas, the thing that they're like, wow, I didn't know it did this, or this is really helpful, or these are the big things that have been like, wow, I wish I'd done this sooner, because those types of things.
Absolutely. So I would say one of the biggest ahas that we run into, Andrew, is just the detailed amount of reporting that you can actually pull. So, we've touched on a few today, but once you actually get in the software and see how you can automate all these reports to get any type of analytics and details that you want about your vehicles in the field, that's a common one that I hear a lot is like, Justin, you mentioned this, this, and this, but man, you didn't tell us that it had this, 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 and this. And it's like, it's really a unlimited list of things that you can do there on that side of the fence. So I would say that's one of my biggest ahas. And then essentially just that enhanced driver safety and reduced accidents through driver behavior monitoring and coaching. Back to the conversation of people and employees knowing that it's in the vehicle, that behavior does seem to change there, which, obviously on the insurance side for a business owner, I mean, you have a fleet of 25, fleet that the insurance premiums can be quite hefty each year there. So that's another big one. And then, just improving customer service and satisfaction, accurate ETAs and better communication with drivers is also another one. So with dispatching and sorry, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Does it give you an address where they are, or just like a longitude, latitude type thing?
So it'll give you the specific address, and you can also click on the street view to use Google Maps to see exactly what location they're at. So it'll give you the street view as well.
Okay, so I'm wondering. I mean, so you've got a guy that's doing. I'm thinking a landscaper right now that does the same locations every week, month, that type of thing.
Right.
I'm wondering if you could pull a report on a variance of how long, like one time they're at it for 20 minutes, the next time they're at there at 40 minutes, and do a variance on the time to see, okay, these guys are lazy today because it's been taking them 20 minutes at this house, and now it's taking them 40 minutes at this house. Why is it taking them so long? What's the, I mean, I don't know, because I mean, time is money. And that's what this is about is time is money, and how can we be more efficient? And as a business owner, you do not know what happens once you hand your guy the key and they leave your lot. There's no way for you to know.
Absolutely.
You might have 800 house my driving, and you might have your sign all over your trucks and vans and everything, and people call you. But unless that happens, you do not know what's going on. You don't know if they've stopped and they're eating lunch, or if and they're doing that on your time, or if they've driven up to Chilhowie, Virginia and back for fun of it. I mean, you really don't. Right. And I mean, having these types of things in place can help with the efficiency of your operations. I mean, if you're an HVAC guy and it's a tune-up, is it taking, I had 3 tune-ups today. Why did it take 3 hours to do these where it took 2 hours the other day? Are they doing the right thing at each one, or did something come up? Did we need to build them more for that? Because it's where are we losing those efficiencies?
Absolutely.
So those things.
Yeah. And another great point there, Andrew, I wanted to bring up is we also allow for geofencing. So, you use the landscaping scenario there. What I've ran into with a lot of landscaping companies that I have worked with are drivers taking too long of routes and longer routes to get to the job site. So with geofencing, you can actually go in and map the territory where that vehicle needs to be. And if it goes outside of the geofence, you're going to get an alert that it has left, and then it tracks all the time that it is out of the geofence. So that geofencing feature is another big aha as well. Just wanted to put that one out there too.
So if I'm routing Bob to the next job site, can I click a button and send that ETA to the client that's expecting them?
I don't know the answer to that one. I knew that one was coming. I don't think you can. We have like a platform. Well, it's not a platform, but you've probably heard of Jobber. A lot of my service based businesses use Jobber. So we have that on like a tablet platform, but this one right here on the Accurate ETAs, I don't believe we do that on the fleet side.
Okay, what's Jobber?
So Jobber is essentially like for all service-based industries to where they can put the customer's information in there and they'll get alerts like, hey, we're 15 minutes away from your scheduled appointment at 1 o'clock. Bob will be arriving soon. And then, once they're in the neighborhood, it'll say, hey, Bob is in your neighborhood. He will be there in a minute. So essentially just increasing customer experience there and knowing, hey, are my guys late or are they on time?
Is that a Verizon tool?
So I think we resell it essentially. I don't think Verizon owns the software, but it is a service that we provide.
And it obviously integrates because it's going to tell them when they're on time, right?
Right.
So you said it's basically on a laptop, a tablet?
A lot of people would use the software on a tablet, correct?
So it's when the tablet gets to a certain spot and they're doing based on the tablet and distance on there?
Correct.
That's cool. Okay. Okay. Business misconceptions about the device. What are people, when you're talking to someone, what are their hesitancies? What are the objections you get? People say, hey, no, I'm not going to do it because why?
One of the biggest ones that I get, Andrew, is just the invasion of privacy. Hey, man, I don't want my guys to feel like I'm tracking and monitoring them. But, at the end of the day, the main reason for the fleet management service is to focus on vehicle and fleet performance. So, protecting against those false accidental claims with having the AI dash cams, making sure the vehicles are where they're supposed to be when they need to be. So that's the big one, is a lot of people don't want to give their employees the feeling of, hey, so I would say that's the number one objection that I get there. The second one is just complexity around installing the device. Like I mentioned earlier, some people say, hey, Justin, is it okay? Can I just take these to the dealership and have them, I'll pay them to set them up? And I'm like, hey, man, it's plug and play. There's no reason to spend your hard-earned money on paying someone else to do it when I don't care a bit to come out on site and set it up for you. So it's not complex. It's very simple. And you've got me in your corner to help you out with doing that. And so the last one I would say, Andrew, is just the high cost. There's a big misconception around telematics being very expensive, but at the end of the day, it really comes out to be very inexpensive when you look at the ROI that you have over a year-to-year basis. Verizon Connect has done tons of studies over the last couple years on what that ROI looks like. And around 70 to 90% of customers will see that ROI within the first 6 months to a year.
Okay, so you and I gone back and forth, and the improvements are you had reduced fuel consumption by up to 20%, decreased vehicle idle time 30%, lowered maintenance costs by 15%, improved driver safety with 50% reduction in accidents, and increased work productivity of 25%. So you're saying they've recouped within 6 months usually the cost of those, and they're in the green.
Absolutely.
That.
Yeah, right around that 6 month to a year mark.
And that doesn't include, I know there's situations that I've talked to underwriters about where people have claimed they had one where a person claimed that a dump truck ran into the back of their car, and they have a camera, and the person actually backed into the dump truck.
Happens all the time.
And got the claim denied. And so, just those things alone are huge for reducing frequency, reducing severity, and saving your insurance company money, which is going to save you money. On the liability side, there's no deductible. You hit someone, there's no deductible. But if you're having to repair your truck with your money instead of someone else, you're saving a deductible. And you save $1,000 deductible. That's a lot of vehicles for a year that you're saving money on because it's not that expensive.
Most certainly.
Those reports, how easy are those to do? Do y'all have like someone that once it's installed kind of coaches you through some of the reports, stuff. How do they get those reports? Because a lot of folks like, I don't know how to pull reports. How are those done? Is that easy?
Absolutely. So whenever we onboard a new client on the fleet management side of things, we're always going to give you in-house, in-depth, thorough training on how do I use my system here. So luckily you can automate all of those reports. So really it's a means of going through every single detailed report that we have and then customizing which ones you do want, which ones you don't want. And then you can even set up the times on when you would like to receive those reports. So a lot of the times, most business owners are outsourcing that to their office manager, other people that are, in control and managing the fleet sides of things, to where they have their fleet manager that's getting the email of every vehicle that they have with all of the detailed reports that they select. With those detailed reports, once you figure out which ones that you want to have the information sent to each day, once you figure out how or where they are and how to automate it, you can set it up and forget about it. So the good thing with that is during that onboarding process, we're asking the questions to see exactly what they're looking for and then showing them all the reports that go along with what they're using it for.
The use case I'm thinking of from insurance is the first step is, okay, we know from a lot of data out there that insurance companies have said that just by having those devices, the reason why all these insurance companies are saying, hey, add our device and you get this kind of discount, is they know that you're going to have between a 5 and 8% reduction in claims just by having an app on your phone that tracks, even if it doesn't do anything for you. By having that, you automatically have it. Now, the people that pay attention to it save even more money because they're being safe. But just by having that thought in your mind that I am being tracked in some shape, form, and fashion, you are going to drive safer just because of that. So the first conversation with the underwriter is, hey, listen, friend of mine just went to Verizon, talked to Justin. They've got this. I need a reduction on their insurance. And the underwriter's going to say, well, why? I'm going to say, well, listen, we know empirically that he's going to save 5 to 8% safer just by having it. Okay, that's not even looking at anything. That's not with the warnings, nothing. That's just by having that. Okay, so we know that. Then we get into those reports, and what you got to remember, most insurance companies cannot or won't. Not going to say they can't, but they're not going to make a midterm change on the pricing if you have telematics. So a good idea is sometime before 3 months before your policy renews, if you'll get those telematics and then start doing these reports like Justin's talking about, and the reports you're going to want to have if you're just using the device with no cameras are those speed reports. Okay, you get the speed reports, you get the hard braking, the hard cornering, and the acceleration. If you get those and you start seeing them, then you look at a trend, because what's going to happen as the coaching goes through, you're going to see people starting to slow down, and you're going to see people starting to brake better and all those types of things. That's just that portion. Then now, as you start to go, you can dive in, but start with that. And then 3 months before your renewal, about 90 days before renewal, talk to the underwriter and saying, listen, let me show you what we've got. We have a trend here, and we know this is going to continue. We are 1,000,000% positive that we are a safer fleet today than we were 5 months ago. We know it. We're monitoring it. We're ashamed to know what we were doing before then, because we can see a trend going down, and that's after they knew it was in there.
Right.
I would love to see someone put the stuff in there and not tell anybody in the middle of the night, just plug them all in there and see what happens. And then a month later say, guys, we've got telematics in the cars now, and see what happens. And I know, it's just going to be a drop off on the mouse speeds and everything. What's going to happen
100%.
if you have data. And that's where I think you can go, because even though insurance companies are wanting to take rate right now, insurance companies should be taking rate on bad accounts or average accounts. But if it went from average to good, why are you still going to give them a rate increase? It doesn't make sense. You want people. If someone's willing to invest in technology to make their employees safer, their vehicles safer, you have liability exposures that have gone on, you basically got an attorney for lack of a better term, sitting in the car with your guy at all times that you know exactly what's going to happen if you go to court. I mean, to have a picture, and I mean, it happens all the time, but to have a camera to show what happened is great. And then, I mean, I didn't even know they had the AI on the near misses. And I hate the term near miss because the near miss is actually a hit. But on the near misses, and then you can correct, because if there's a near miss, it's never going, no one's going to say anything. Hey, Bob, you wouldn't believe today. I was texting and I went across the road and I almost had a wreck. That's not going to be said. But by having that, even one step better to know what's going on. And if you're in a neighborhood or that type of thing, you see it. People are coming real close. What can we do to avoid those types of situations?
Absolutely.
So huge, big deal there for me. And
fantastic point, Andrew. Fantastic point there.
Anything else you want to end on about telematics that you think is important for business owners as they're looking at fleet management and that type of thing?
Absolutely, man. I think the biggest thing is just really taking a full broad spectrum look at the CRM and all the analytics that you do have. There are a lot of old Fleetmatics platforms that, quote unquote, has turned a lot of business customers off on that side of the things, because in the past, platforms would crash. You'd pull up your app, you can't find where any of your guys are. So over the years in the fleet management side of things in that industry, there has been drastic improvements with all of the AI changes over the past few years. So that would be my biggest thing there, is take a look at it, see if it's a solution that you think would help your business, because at the end of the day, the ROI is there. And knowing that if you're working with the right insurance agent, they can absolutely be a resource in your corner. But the key is working with the right insurance agent. So that would be what I'd like to end on there, Andrew, is everybody should take a look at it. Maybe it's not, but the ROI statistics speak for themselves.
Hey, so do they have to have Verizon phones to get Verizon?
Absolutely not. You can have your phones with AT&T, T-Mobile, still have your fleet management solutions with us. So most certainly.
Rough guesses. Okay, so a fleet of 5, and I just want the dongle. What how much a month?
On average, a fleet of 5, I would say you're looking around about $20 a dongle there. Once you get to the 10 mark on the tiered pricing side of the things, it does start to come down, the more that you add there. So, anything in that 1 to 10 space, you're looking around $20. And from that 10 plus space, you're looking at increase or decreasing from the $20 a month.
But I'm not paying for a dongle. You give that free.
Correct. You get the dongle for free. You're paying for the service and the software.
Okay. And then do I have a length of time contract on it?
There is a 36-month contract on the dongle. So how it works is it's $300 is what that starts out at. And then each month as you pay, the early termination fee does lower on there. So there is a 3-year contract. There are options to get out. I can be a resource to help you if you guys are ever in a scenario where, something's went wrong or you had a very bad experience with Verizon Connect. So there are always options. When you hear contract, a lot of people get scared, but it's not as scary as it sounds.
And then if I put cameras in, does the monthly rate go up or does it stay the same?
Yes. So doing the trackers with the dash cams, you're definitely going to get a better deal on both sides of the fence. The GPS trackers are going to be cheaper and the cameras are also going to be cheaper as well. So with doing the dual cameras and the GPS tracking, that's going to be your best bang for buck, is having both of those combined there. Its pricing's different. If you want just the camera, it's going to be more expensive than, if you have the camera and the tracker. So it really just all depends, what the specific business needs are.
So y'all are going to sell a camera without a tracker?
You can.
Okay. So on the cameras, do you buy those outright or is it part of a contract or what's going on there?
That's a good question, Andrew. I need to get up to date on that one. I don't know what the camera purchasing looks like, because I know it's a monthly set fee, but I think they give you the equipment, but then just bill you for the service essentially. So it's like, hey, we're going to give you the dongle and the cameras for free, but you're going to pay for the software on that side of things.
Okay. So let's talk about the dash cams real quick.
Okay.
If I have a dash cam, how long is that video stored? Where is it stored and how is it stored? Is it stored on the camera Does it automatically go to a cloud? Where's that video going?
Great question. So that video automatically gets uploaded to the cloud in real time.
Wow.
The good thing is, yes, the good thing is you can see back to 3 to 6 months on your platform side of things, and then that information does get stowed away. But if you ever need to look back, hey, what happened on January 24th, 2024, and we're sitting in 2025, I make a simple phone call and can get you exactly what happened on that date. So on the platform side, after 3 to 6 months, it does get stored away, but we can always go back and get older data if needed.
Can I download that? Like, can I pull it and say I've got Amazon Web Services, kind of drop it in there so I've got it in perpetuity? I mean, surely I can download the video.
Absolutely. Yeah, you could download the video.
What am I downloading? Am I downloading it like, is it a video per drive? Does the camera stay on?
So it breaks it down into clips is how it works. So I'm almost certain there's an option where you can see, 24-hour live feed there. But then on the reporting side, the way that it's going to break it down for those alerts is, depending on what driver behavior is going on, or, hey, was there a vehicle that got a little bit too close to us on the hard cornering side of things? So it all really just depends there on that side with how you want it customized and set up.
Okay, so I mean, it's not running while my cars are parked in there, are they?
No, it is not. The vehicle would have to be powered.
Okay, so if the vehicle's running, it will be going. But so as soon as you turn on the vehicle, it runs, and when you turn it off, it stops.
Correct.
Okay, if I'm at 10, what's the starting price at 10?
So starting price at 10, you're still close to that $20 mark. I would say you're probably looking between 16 to 20. It's really around that 15 plus mark is when you can start seeing that pricing go a little bit under $15 on that side of things.
Okay. And that's for the dongle, but if I'm getting the camera, it's going to be what?
With the camera side,
I've got dongle, front and back camera. What am I looking at?
And front and back camera, I would say you're safely looking at anywhere from 25 to 40.
Okay. Per vehicle per month.
Per vehicle per month.
Okay. These dash cams have come a long way. I mean, I had no clue. I mean, I figured there was some AI in there. I love AI. So I think that's one of the coolest things that's in there. But I think the takeaway for me is call and talk to you. If you don't want to talk to Justin, call and talk to someone else, because I do think the prices have come down a lot compared to what they used to be. Just the camera quality is so much better. It can help you out. And it's not like you're going to show up on one of those cop shows where you see all those cameras. I mean, this is designed to help you. You're trying to, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your employees get home safe and that you're not harming anyone else. That's the bottom line. And I will say another thing. So there's a thing called negligent entrustment. And a lot of people don't know what that is. And negligent entrustment is when you knowingly give your vehicle to someone that should not be driving it. And if you go to court, and I'm not an attorney, but if I were an attorney, I went to court and I had someone that didn't have dash cams and didn't have any of these devices, but knew that they had a bunch of drivers that were on their fleet that had tickets and accidents, that's the route I would go. And I would ding you up, because if you can have some type of negligent entrustment, that type of thing, you're going to get a lot more money than if you have a guy that's never had a ticket, never had anything, and his accident hurt someone. That's going to be hard. But if you knowingly have a fleet, and right now hiring someone that doesn't have a ding on their record is difficult. Trust me, I see MVRs come through all the time, and it is difficult. By having something like this, you're able to monitor it. And so you're not going to put your company at risk because you have the defense. Now, one thing is you do have to look at those reports. If your phone is blowing up because of speeds and you do nothing about it, then you got some other issues. But most of the people I talk to, they really care about their employees. They really care about the community that's helped them get business. So I would do that. So talk to Justin, talk to someone, sit down and see what it is. Can you make it work? Is the cost going to justify it? I think your ROI is going to be huge. I think it'll be a savings. And the first time you get a near miss, or you don't have to pay a claim, or someone is not injured when they could have been injured, it's all going to be worth it at the end of the day. So any last things you want to say?
Andrew, I think you hit the nail on the head there, man. That's a very valid point. You know, at the end of the day, business owners are just trying to make sure that their employees are taken care of and that their business is protected. So I've really enjoyed our time today. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good one. Until next time, I'm Andrew with Veritas Risk Management. With Justin at Verizon. We'll see you guys. Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.